What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hail Mary. Thank you for tuning into this episode. We did not have one on Monday. I woke up Monday morning and I was not a happy camper because of everything that happened with the Steelers on Sunday night. And then we're redoing our home office thing upstairs slash bedroom. So I was just doing that because I really didn't feel like coming on here and just being mad about the Steelers, because it would have been a half hour of just yelling about the Steelers. I couldn't think about anything else other than how mad I was at the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I decided I was just gonna go upstairs and do all the work that I had to do up there, and we're making headway up there, so that's good. But we do have some topics we're gonna talk about today, and no, it's not gonna be about the Steelers. I want to talk about this whole ESPN versus YouTube TV thing, and if you have YouTube TV, I'm so sorry for you. I want to talk about Lane Kiffin because there are a lot of coaches who obviously have been fired in college football, and Lane Kiffin is the biggest name right now that he's being linked to pretty much every single school. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the World Series and how the Blue Jays have pretty much taken over this series, and we'll see if they can win it tonight. And then Wemby is playing out of his freaking mind right now. He's looking awesome, so we're going to talk about that. Before we get into our first topic, which is ESPN versus YouTube TV, I want to give a big shout out to Underdog and Sleeper. Sign up, use the code HMM. When you do sign up, you're going to get yourself a deposit match. Plus, you are going to get a free 0.5 gimme pick. So it's going to be something like Justin Jefferson needs one receiving yard, or Ashton Genty needs one rushing yard, something like that is basically free money. So when you sign up for Underdog and Sleeper using the code HMM, you will get a 0.5 gimme pick. Plus, you will get that deposit match as well. Let's talk about YouTube TV versus ESPN. Yesterday was ridiculous. We had every single analyst for ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, Scott Van Pelt, Field Yates, Mike Greenberg, everybody was coming out and being like, hey, your contract, if you have YouTube TV, the contract is running up, and you won't be able to get ESPN and ABC sporting events and network shows on YouTube TV anymore. So you need to go to this website and voice your displeasure to YouTube TV, essentially making us, the consumer, do their job for them. That's what they did. They made all their analysts basically go to this website and have us yell at YouTube TV. And if you did that, if you went to that website and fought with YouTube TV, you are a fool. You are a sucker. We should not. We already do our jobs. We give ESPN and YouTube TV money. And when we do that, they are supposed to give us a service, which is being able to watch sports in ESPN network broadcasts. I'm not doing more work for you. Why would I do your job for you? Your job is to figure out this contract dispute. Your job is to make sure that I am getting what I paid for. And I'm not talking just about ESPN or just about YouTube TV. It's both sides. Because now there are a ton of people who only have YouTube TV to watch sports. So now that they can't do that, they're going to cancel YouTube TV. ESPN, they look like the bad guy because they're seemingly the ones who wanted more money. And I think this is all just a giant ploy by ESPN. What I think is happening, ESPN knew that their contract with YouTube TV was up. So they're making YouTube TV seem like the bad guy, which is why they had all their analysts come out and was like, hey, YouTube TV's doing this to you. You need to speak up about it. They are just forcing people to flock to ESPN Plus. And what's going to happen, because this happens all the time, they're going to hit a certain threshold of subscribers. Everybody who left YouTube TV and comes to ESPN Plus so they could watch their games, they're all going to flock over. Once they hit a certain threshold, they're going to raise their price. Because they're going to be like, Well, we're less than YouTube TV. And the only reason why you were on YouTube TV was so you could watch ESPN broadcasts. So we're only gonna make it $60 a month. Now YouTube TV was 85. They're the bad guy. You should be mad at them. Not at us. Be mad at them. I feel like that was the ploy the entire time. Make YouTube TV the bad guy, have everyone flock to your streaming service, raise the price, and then still talk shit on YouTube TV. Both sides are ridiculous. This is a never-ending cycle with streaming, and that's why I wrote a big long blog talking about why I apologize to cable. We villainized cable for the longest time. We told cable that it was the worst thing possible, and it was for a long time. You would get these shows you didn't want to watch. I just wanted to watch all the sports channels. They're like, no, you got to buy this and this and this and this. I wasn't watching it, but I paid for it, and it cost me $250 a month. And sometimes there would be the wind would blow, and I wouldn't be able to watch my games. When streaming first came out, streaming was awesome. It was great. Now, to watch every game possible that you want to watch. So if you are a fan of football, basketball, baseball, hockey, you need every streaming service under the sun. It actually costs more now per month than what cable costs. And with cable, I at least didn't have to log in to 12 different streaming platforms just to watch something. If there was a basketball game on and there was also a simultaneous hockey game, I could just hit back on my TV remote and go back to that and watch that until there was a commercial and then go back. Now you have to watch it on Hulu. I have to watch the basketball game on Hulu, and then when it goes to halftime, I have to switch my thing, go over to HBO, hopefully it logs in, get in, wait for it to buffer, and then I can watch the game. It's unnecessary steps, it's unnecessary money. We all owe cable a huge apology. I'm sorry, myself. You could be looking at me like, no, I don't miss cable, which fine. But streaming right now is a disaster. It's a nightmare. And ESPN, this was a giant... I can't prove it. I'm not in the building. But this had to have been a giant ploy by them to get people to flock to their programming and then raise the prices. That's what I think. Let's move on now. We're not going to talk about streaming anymore. We're going to talk about... Let's talk about the World Series. Because the Blue Jays have taken over this series. They are now up 3-2, and the series is going back. The series is now going back up, I should say, to Toronto. And I kind of have to put my hand up on this one. I thought the Dodgers were going to win this series 4-1. I really did. I thought the Dodgers had this in the bag, how dominant they looked. I thought that Shohei Ohtani was going to take over, which he seemingly did. Shohei Ohtani has taken over some games. Now, that game that he pitched, he lost, but I thought Shohei Ohtani was essentially just going to take over this entire series and win it. But no, the Blue Jays are showing that they have depth, they have power, and they're a good team. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't pick the Dodgers 4-1 because I thought the Blue Jays were bad. I picked the Dodgers 4-1 just because I thought the Dodgers were so much of a wagon, so much more than the Blue Jays. But I was clearly wrong about that. And the Dodgers got mowed down the last two games. So after that 18-inning game, 6-2, 6-1 they've lost. They got mowed down by Savage. And that was like his, fourth ever start in the MLB? And he mowed down what is the best team in baseball, potentially. I mean, it's looking like it's going to be the Blue Jays. So, I don't know what's going to happen tonight. Tonight, we have Guzman versus Yamamoto. I don't know. I am just shocked at how good the Blue Jays are playing. And again, I'm not saying the Blue Jays were bad, but they look freaking awesome right now. And if you're watching the series, comment down below, who do you think is going to be the World Series MVP? If the Blue Jays win tonight, who will be the World Series MVP? I should just say, if the Blue Jays win tonight or on Saturday, who should be the MVP? And then if the Dodgers, it's probably going to end up being Shohei Ohtani. If the Dodgers come back and win this series. Which, if the Dodgers want to come back and win this series, Shohei Ohtani has to do what he did in that 18-inning game and essentially just take over. The Blue Jays refused to pitch to him after he hit 2 bombs and a double. They walked him, 4 times? He reached base 9 times in that game. If the Dodgers want to come back and win this series in Toronto, Shohei Ohtani is going to have to take freaking over. And part of me thinks tonight the Dodgers are going to win. They got Yamamoto on the mound. The last time Yamamoto was on the mound in this series, the Dodgers ended up winning 5-1. So this might go to a game 7, in my opinion. And then at that point, literally anything is possible. But yeah, I just got to put my hand up because I did not think that the Blue Jays were going to be able to hold their own in this series as well as they did. I predicted it to be 4-1. They just look great. They look awesome. So we'll see what they can do. I think the Dodgers win tonight. Game 7, I have no idea. I got to see who's pitching, who's in the bullpen, because after that 18-inning game, nobody had pitching. And when Shohei Ohtani was getting rocked, the Dodgers were kind of dead in the water at that point. So we'll see what happens. I love this series. It's so much fun to watch. It's awesome. And yeah. Who do you have winning the series? Do you have the Blue Jays taking it tonight or game 7? Or do you have the Dodgers coming back, winning the next 2 and winning the World Series? Let me know in the comments. And who do you think is going to be the World Series MVP? Let's move on. And we are going to talk a little bit about Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs. Because something that surprised me, for all of the great players that the Spurs have had throughout their history, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, they've never started 5-0 to start a season. That is actually absurd to me with the amount of talent that they've had in the past. But Victor Wembanyama is right now just taking over the NBA, and I want to look up his actual stat lines, what he's averaging per game. So he's averaging 30 points a game, which is 7th in the NBA, which is crazy. 14.6 rebounds per game. And 3 assists, and he's shooting 56% from the field. The man right now is putting up MVP caliber numbers. And what do you do right now if you're the Spurs? Last year, Wemby was hurt, and you didn't really make moves. And I was asking around, I was asking some people, what do you think's going to go on with the Spurs this year? You think they're going to be a super dominant playoff team? And I heard somewhere in the range of they're going to have 38 to 42 wins in that area. It looks like they're going to be better than that. It looks like the Spurs are going to be much better than that. Now, listen, anything can happen. They could fall off. Wemby, if he gets hurt, then it's disaster mode right now for them if Wemby gets hurt or something happens, But if you're the Spurs, you have this guy right now who is playing at an MVP level, and if he obviously keeps this up, he's winning the MVP of the NBA. Do you go out and just make an absolute splash move? What do you do? Do you get somebody else to pair with Wemby that is just utter domination? Just absurd. Do you go out and try to get... I know that LaMelo Ball is on the block right now. Do you try to get a LaMelo Ball? Do you try to go out and just offer the kitchen sink to try to get Giannis? What do you do? Because right now, how Wemby is playing right now, this is an NBA championship level from him. You're going to need more pieces around him. And if something happens to him, if something happens to Wemby and he's out for a month, you kind of want somebody who's there that is going to be able to let you still win a decent chunk of your games. So whenever he does come back and he's healthy, you just pick right back up where you left off, push your way through the playoffs. What do you do if you are the San Antonio Spurs, seeing how good Wemby's playing right now? Do you go out and get a player? So what do you guys think? Again, I am not super well versed in the NBA. I'm trying to watch it more, but I know that from rumblings, I'm hearing LaMelo Ball's on the block. There's talks like Giannis may not be coming back to Milwaukee, but then it's also a situation where it's like, well, do you just wait and try to sign him, or do you just get him now and then do like a trade and sign type thing? So I don't know. People who are more well versed in the NBA, let me know, what should the Spurs do with this wave of momentum that they got from Wemby? I have no idea. I'm kind of spitballing here. It is just it's fun to watch him play. And I know that there's a lot of people like, well, yeah, he's gonna dominate the NBA. He's 7'6" and has a fucking 12-foot wingspan. And it's like, yeah, but it's also very fun because the dude can hit crossovers, the dude can hit step back threes, the dude can dunk in your face. He's a creative player. He's a straight up creative player. And I want to know what you guys think. What should the Spurs do to build on with the momentum they got with Wemby? So yeah. Our final topic we're going to talk about today, and I know this is a quicker episode. Lane Kiffin has been the talk of the town when it comes to coaching. LSU just lost their coach. Florida lost their coach. Penn State lost their coach. A lot of schools are losing their coaches. And Lane Kiffin is the biggest name for mostly these SEC jobs. I don't think there's any chance he's going to Penn State. But it's Florida and it's LSU right now for him. And he's the biggest name. And I don't think it makes a lot of sense right now for Lane Kiffin to leave Ole Miss. With this age of NIL and the transfer portal, and you can essentially get as much money as you want from any booster possible, I don't think it makes a lot of sense for Lane Kiffin to just up and leave Ole Miss, unless if he goes to LSU, if he goes to Florida, they give him the most ungodly number. They give him a check that has more zeros on it than you've ever seen in your life. You know? Because what he's building right now at Ole Miss is awesome. He's building something good there. They're a better team than Florida. They're a better team than LSU. Right now, as it stands, they are a better program. Now, does LSU and Florida have more money than Ole Miss? Yes, they do. But if Ole Miss was serious about keeping this going, letting Lane Kiffin do his thing, build what he's building, they want to keep him around. There needs to be boosters out there that are willing to have deep pockets. I'm even talking exceeding what LSU can do. And I know that's tough, but there are people who went to LSU, or not LSU, who went to Ole Miss, who are Ole Miss fans, who are Ole Miss alum, who have deep, deep, deep pockets. If you are serious about your football program and you want to win a national championship, you want to be better than Florida, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, open up your pockets. Make sure you do everything in your power to keep Lane Kiffin around. Because will I blame Lane Kiffin if he leaves because Florida or LSU give him the biggest blank check we've ever seen? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't blame him whatsoever. Because apparently there's one guy who is willing to pay a majority of Brian Kelly's $54 million buyout. That's absurd. That's how deep the pockets are at LSU. if Ole Miss is serious, you got to be just like that. You have to open up your pockets and be like Larry Ellison with what he's doing with Michigan. The guy is the second richest man in the world. LSU has deep pockets. Ohio State has deep pockets. Oregon has deep pockets. You gotta exceed that. Because right now, you have the hottest name in college football, coaching-wise. And every other school in the SEC seemingly wants him. Florida and LSU could open up a bag, could back up the Brinks truck to get your coach. You need to prove to him that you are serious. And I get that it's tough for him to, I guess, leave what he's built. But when you're given an absurd amount of money, leave it behind and just build from there. And then you just start digging into the deep pockets. And those players that you recruited at Ole Miss, guess what? It's the same state. I don't think they have a problem going to LSU. A lot of those kids that he recruited in Mississippi or I shouldn't say same state, it's Louisiana, but you know what I'm saying. Same region. I feel like a lot of those kids who were going to Mississippi wanted to play at LSU. So you really gotta figure it out with Lane Kiffin if you're Ole Miss, because LSU is gonna back up the Brinks truck for him. But again, in this age of college, that's what I'm saying though. In this age of college football, with the transfer portal, with NIL, it doesn't make sense for Lane Kiffin to leave if he's being offered the same amount of money that he's making now. So if Florida or LSU go to him and be like, hey, we'll give you $1 million extra. Maybe not even $1 million. Who knows? I don't know where Lane Kiffin's priorities are. But if they go to him and they're like, hey, we'll offer you the same amount that you're making here, you'll just have deeper pockets. I don't think it makes sense for him to leave. I don't think it does, because he could go to the boosters at Mississippi, at Ole Miss, and say, hey, they told me they told me this is their budget, like, match it. So if Ole Miss is serious, they will keep Lane Kiffin around. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening to this edition of the Hail Mary. One thing I want to add, because I plan on at some point potentially making my own Pittsburgh sports just podcast. Something like this, 20 minutes a week, talks about the Penguins, whatever the Pirates are doing, the Steelers, stuff like that. So if you are a Pittsburgh fan, if you're in the Pittsburgh area and you want to listen to that, be sure to let me know. But before we do that, what I want to say is the Steelers this week are taking on the Indianapolis Colts, who have the best record in football, potentially the best team in football. Sorry. Jonathan Taylor, in my humble prediction, is going to break every rushing record imaginable. Did you see what Monty Quinn did at Curry College? He rushed for 522 yards this year. It's a football record. It's an NCAA record. Jonathan Taylor is going to break that. He's going to break the NFL single season, he may break the single season record. He's going to break the NFL single game record for rushing, and he may also break the NCAA one as well. That's how bad the Steelers are going to lose this week. And I'm calling it right now. Yeah, I'm calling it right now. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening to this edition of the Hail Mary. Please check out our website. We just brought on a new writer as well. Big Jersey Bill is going to be talking to you guys all about New York sports. So check that out on hailmary.media. And shout out to our new writer, Big Jersey Bill. All right, guys, have a good week. Enjoy football. Unless you have YouTube TV, then you're not watching it. So have fun doing whatever you do when you don't watch football. All right, everybody, have a beautiful weekend. Have a good Halloween. It is Halloween night. Halloween day, I should say. So, yeah, have a great day, everybody, and I will see you all potentially on Monday. It depends. If the Steelers lose in terrible fashion, I may not be here. We'll see. Have a beautiful weekend, everybody. Peace out.